This week, you're going to write a pourquoi story. Now, we're going to talk a little bit more about what a pourquoi story is. But one very important part of a pourquoi story is a strong conclusion. Base a strong conclusion on the story you have written. The conclusion brings together the plot events, characters, setting, and theme to resolve a conflict. In a pourquoi story, the writer tells how something came to be. Now, these are the features of a pourquoi story. In a pourquoi story, the writer explains the origin of something, usually an aspect of nature, like perhaps a bird or an animal or a plant. The writer gives a creative rather than a scientific explanation. The word pourquoi means why in French. A pourquoi story is organized according to a plot line, and we're going to take a look at what that means in just a minute. Writers introduce the characters and setting, tell about the events leading up to a conflict, and then explain the results of the conflict. And it's usually written from a third-person point of view, which means an outsider looking in. It often features dialogue and sensory language, and a strong conclusion brings story elements together and leaves readers thinking about the theme or lesson. Now let's take a look at this pourquoi story, written by Isabel S. It's called Why Snakes Have No Legs. Long ago, snakes had legs. Alligator was jealous of Snake's speed. Maybe with no legs, Alligator said, he wouldn't catch food so fast. Alligator made a plan. One morning after a big rain, Alligator stood in mud. What are you doing? Snake asked. Juicy bugs get stuck in the mud, Alligator said. Stand still and you'll see. So Snake crawled over and sank up to his belly. Alligator said, I need to take this catch of bugs home, but I'll be right back. He went to the woods and waited. As the sun rose, the mud baked hard like concrete. Snake was stuck. Help! He cried. Alligator came running over. He said, I think the only thing to do is cut you out. Alligator cut Snake out of the mud. And that is why snakes have no legs to this day. Now you can see in this pourquoi story at the very beginning, they told us about the characters, Alligator and Snake, and the setting, as well as the events that led up to the conflict. And the conflict here is where Snake is stuck in the mud and can't get out. And then, of course, our strong conclusion shows how Alligator comes and cuts him out so that way he doesn't have legs anymore. So this is an example of a pourquoi story. Now let's take a look at the graphic organizer you can use to plan for writing a pourquoi story. This graphic organizer is called a plot diagram. And a plot diagram kind of looks like a mountain. Now, the beginning is actually down here where you're going to list the characters and setting for your pourquoi. The characters and settings for the pourquoi we just read are the alligator and snake, and they're in a jungle after a big rain. Now, if you think about this as a mountain, and the events are climbing and climbing and climbing until we have a main conflict here. So we're going to list the events in order up the side of this mountain. So the next thing you're going to list are the events, and they're going to go in order like this. So the first thing that happens is Alligator's jealous of Snake's ability to catch food quickly, so he plans to get rid of Snake's legs. The next thing that happens is Alligator tells Snake that they can catch bugs in the mud. Then Snake joins Alligator in the mud and sinks. Then Alligator leaves, saying he'll be back, but doesn't return. And as the sun rises, Snake waits in the mud. Now, all of those things have happened to lead us to the main conflict. And the main conflict in this pourquoi is that the mud bakes hard in the sun and Snake is stuck. Oh no! Now, as the conflict is resolved, our action is falling. And so we're going to write the results here. Alligator cuts off Snake's legs to free him from the mud. And that's the results, the strong conclusion that you're looking for. So after the events, you're going to identify the main conflict and then write your results. And you're going to write that in a strong conclusion. And then, of course, you're going to write the theme or lesson of the pourquoi. And the theme or lesson in this case is never trust a jealous friend. So those are the 5 parts of your plot diagram. Now I want you to think of anything in nature, an animal, a plant, or anything that you would like to write about. I want you to think about writing a story or a pourquoi explaining how that animal or plant got to be the way it is. And then you're going to complete your own plot diagram to help you plan your writing. If you need to review a pourquoi, you can always come back and watch this video.